Hey guys, welcome to a special bonus episode of Unethical Podcast while we're on our week off. It's a companion episode for the Tess Richey episodes, which were episode 8 and 9. If you want to go check those out on the feed, it's an interview with her sister.
Welcome to Unethical Podcast.
I just want people to understand that, yes, while we make jokes and everything, we do understand that these are traumatic events. A lot of people, including myself, I always like to hear the gory details, but I never hear the outcomes for the families involved. And I kind of wanted to ask Varina a lot of questions about how it's been for them and what they've had to deal with throughout this whole thing. I also have a couple questions to clear up some muddy waters from the episodes. So it's going to be nice to talk to her. You should all be reminded that these people were real people, and that they had to go through this, especially with something so fresh as this. And a lot of things that I'm proud of their family for doing is getting this stuff started, and hopefully they can get past it. I appreciate Varina for even coming on. So, all right. Hi, Varina. How's it going today?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, thanks for coming on. That's super nice of you. I was super nervous when I first talked to you. I know we talked on the phone a little bit there, but you could tell I was nervous to even message you. So this is way more than I ever expected from you. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm really happy, and I have a special place in my heart for people from Northern Ontario. So
I want to tell you right off the bat, Varina, if you want to say fuckface or shit dick or cunty McGee, if you want to use your outdoor voice, you go nuts.
I love it. Okay, perfect. Because I slip up sometimes. So thank you for that.
I know you're worried about it when we're talking on the phone. I'm like, just say titty. I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to sort of rein myself in, I suppose. That's
awesome.
There's a lot. I say a lot anyway, but there's a lot more I probably want to say that I do keep in check. So
that's okay. How many interviews have you done like this in the past year, just since the trial? Like,
this is the second one. I think I did just the true crime podcast.
But I'm talking like live interviews and stuff like that.
Did a press conference in June. Yeah, that was we're kind of fish out of water.
Yeah.
When it comes to this kind of situation as well. We did a press conference. As we know, it's obviously a weird time in the world with the pandemic going on. So we didn't do it in the normal way. We would have normally had a press conference where we'd actually be standing with microphones and having the press around asking questions. That's pretty much the only way we've been able to do things at the moment. Yeah. So I haven't done much. I've had people reach out. There's lots of people that want to work on things. It's the traveling restrictions and things right now are preventing.
It's so crazy. The whole world's gone mad, Varina. Like I'm glad my kids are allowed to go back to the park this week. Like, thank God.
It's something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime.
No, for sure. Like, who would have predicted this? We're all like stuck in our house for a year, 2 years. Not me.
No, and I thought I'd seen it all at that point.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah.
No, well, hey man, I'm glad that we're talking. At least we have Zoom now. You know, that's something. We can drink over the internet with people. That's something.
Thank God. That's been a really thank God. I'm up at weird hours doing that anyway because my friends are all over the world.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. You were out in England when this happened. The UK.
Yeah, I was in the UK.
Yeah. World traveler. You've been all over the place. You?
I have. I've been very lucky. I haven't been everywhere. I've but I've been.
You're not Johnny Cash. You know,
I'm not Johnny Cash yet. I certainly was working on it.
It's good. So when they do these press conferences, you have to like go through your lawyer and they kind of give you an idea of what it's going to do, or do you guys they throw a camera in front of you and you just talk?
For the press conference, we did work with our lawyer, it was lawyer led. Yeah. The other things, at the beginning when we were looking for Tess, we were doing interviews with the press to try and get the word out that she was missing. It's kind of learning as you go. And then you kind of, as the stories keeps developing, then there's new things to sort of react to and process. And usually that one was lawyer led. The other times we've reached out to them ourselves.
Okay.
We've used social media to reach out to media or use that. We've gotten to know some of them at the trial.
Yeah.
a lot of them took this case quite personally.
Of course. It was such a weird time in the gay village at the time anyway. And plus your sister just added a cherry on top, like so much extra fucking so crazy.
Absolutely.
How is everyone?
Obviously, I can't speak for everybody. I'm speaking for myself, but I can imagine that. I mean, I'm devastated. My life it's very hard to even, I mean, it's disarray, and we can't really, we can't really see each other. We can't, first of all, because of the pandemic and everyone's scattered.
And that must have been the whole separation of all you guys must have happened like directly when the trial was done, because COVID was happening. You guys must have had to quarantine right away, right?
We did, and everyone was in separate places. God.
That's so rough.
It was pretty hard, especially when you went from sort of seeing your family, even if you're not getting along or you're stressed out from the trial and stuff. It was kind of hard to transition from actually being in the same room as them every day, even if it was not always easy. It was nice to sort of be around them.
Yeah.
And, having support from all the the media, people, like everyone around, just were really generally really supportive, really sympathetic to what we were going through. And then all of a sudden, and we had an expedited sentencing as well. So we only had from the verdict to reading our victim impact statements, not even 24 hours to write them, and then read them out maybe 36 hours later. And then all of a sudden, complete isolation, especially because we were out in the middle of it.
You guys were just going back to your various, wherever you guys were.
Well, so we were all in different, my mom had an Airbnb condo. I was staying with my friend's mother.
Understood,
my sister has a place there. So she had two of my sisters there. So so we were separate households. And
Oof. Do you guys still, okay, sorry, I'm kind of jumping back here because I went.
Sure.
We were all curious as to, and myself and the three girls do not think this should be the case, but do you guys still in contact with Riley Simard? Like, does everyone blame her for leaving her or anything like that happened?
I certainly was trying to be fair until the trial, but when I did hear Riley say that my sister asked her not to leave.
Oh no, I didn't know that. That's not Riley publicized really. So
no, that was testified to. So that, like, my sister, I don't know if she did ask her to stay.
Yeah. Fuck.
And I mean, I've done heavy drinking. I've went out with my friends and we've gotten separated before. And in the chaos, both are, I wasn't there that night, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But they were both asked to leave the bar because of the state they were in. So there's that sympathy, but if
for sure. And who thinks that anything bad's going to happen? Obviously, right? Like
that's it.
I try not to be judgmental, but it's hard, man. Because I talk about risk versus reward. We've all done that before, where we've taken risk to get reward. And the risk in this was leave Tess by herself and get home earlier, right?
Get home early and get to bed, or get sick. Riley maybe was feeling sick. Like, I don't know how she was feeling. I can't speak. I mean, she couldn't remember a lot from the evening.
Of course. Yeah. We've all been there. I've been there.
That's the thing. So it's hard to, but I know that if that didn't happen, I know my sister would be alive. So it's maybe unfair.
Yeah.
Some feelings on my part anyway.
Yeah. I can't blame you, and it's hard. It's hard.
Fairly or unfairly, I don't know. Like
here's the thing is it's really hard to I didn't know the part where she said that Tess told her not to leave. That's a little sad.
After, she said that to me.
But at the same time, like we've all done it, and I feel bad, and it happened to your sister. So obviously you're going to have the that in you, right? Right.
It's like separated. An objective me and a subjective me, right?
Yeah, for sure. And oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that part. That's very sad. And all over, like, just boyfriend wanting to go home. It's so sad. So bad.
The whole thing is horrible. My sister just wanted to go out dancing to get over a boyfriend that hurt her.
Yeah.
So she went to the gay village. She didn't want to be hit on.
Yeah.
Just wanted to drown her sorrows, I suppose. We've all been there too.
And you have a friend that you haven't seen in a couple of years, and you're just going to get fucked up and have some fun,
and she was already drinking, honestly, before she went out. So that's why they didn't last long, I guess, at the bar.
Yeah. Sorry, feel like I'm jumping a bit. So how long were the police, like, were your mom and I can't remember her friend's name that found your sister looking? Was that like a day they were looking? Was it like an afternoon?
She went out the Friday and she was noticed missing Saturday.
Yeah.
And I guess my family called the police. I was notified Sunday because I was in the UK. I really didn't believe something bad happened. I really thought it was a weekend gone crazy.
Yeah, of course.
Particularly given the breakup and her birthday was coming up.
Birthday and breakup? That's a double drinker.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Completely. So, I was like, okay, she's probably just gone out. She's like, phone's dead. Got smashed. And then my mom, I'll never forget it. She was in hysterics. She knew.
Yeah.
She knew. I never see my mom like that. So she immediately went to Toronto.
Yeah.
So she was there by Sunday evening.
Okay.
And Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, they were handing out posters. We had booby trapped Tessa's apartment to see if she came home.
Yeah.
We had put like something there. My sister had a key to her place.
Yeah.
So we put something there to see if we could tell if she actually went into her house at some point. And that was over in Scarborough, her apartment. So my mom said when she was over there, she didn't feel anything, but she felt her in the village. Like she knew she had to keep looking there. That's where she had to keep handing out the posters and the.
Okay. And this was over like a couple days that they were.
This was over.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like
so your mom went to Toronto like pretty much the day after she went missing kind of thing, or a couple days after. That's fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So crazy. I also saw when you were talking to Jordan, because I did listen to the podcast. You did say that you guys were kind of like, when you did find her, you guys were organizing a wig and like go hunt. From
the time that it was finally officially declared a homicide, my mom, again, just beside herself, but was determined to figure out what the hell was going on in the village. She compiled a list. She was working now with the 519. They compiled a list of all the missing people. Okay. And so my mom was like, something's going on. Obviously it turns out that they weren't connected, but at the time we didn't know that. Right?
Yeah, how could you know?
We just were like, okay, this is bizarre. Like all these, I wasn't even aware people were going missing in the village. Well, this, like,
you're so disconnected. You're out in London or in England, right? So how would you know?
Tess hung up missing posters for Andrew Kinsman.
Oh, really? Kinsman, that guy was a staple around in the village. He was probably one of the ones that got everyone paying attention more because he was a staple. He was around, right? So
well, and I think honestly, I think also because he first of all didn't live the transient life maybe as much, or he certainly by all accounts he didn't live a transient lifestyle. He had a job, a cat, a life, friends, people that loved him. Not that the others hadn't, obviously.
No, for sure.
We are aware that they were more, they were their immigration statuses were maybe not so clear. They weren't accepted. They were from different countries, so perhaps more stigma. Yeah. To discover that you're LGBTQ with your families and things. So there was, people probably that weren't as visible to their families. Is it also because he was a white man?
Yeah, I was gonna say he was the white. He was the white guy out of all of them. So of course,
right, exactly.
And let's not give the police a pass on that. There was clearly a racial aspect to it.
Yeah, right. And I do think exactly. And sometimes it takes that, but it shouldn't, especially at the cost of lives.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Fuck you, police. It's the most upsetting part about
it really is. It really is. And that it felt like they were giving carte blanche, shop rate, Schlatter and MacArthur.
Did you guys actually end up getting a wig and stuff and start doing that, or did the cops
we didn't. Oh yeah, no, we didn't. So yeah, sorry, but we were getting tipped off because of the nature of social media. Yeah. Tips were coming to us, not the cops.
That's amazing.
So we were having to pass it to the cops. So people would be like, this is my ex. He likes choking during sex. Let me check him out. People would send us things. Oh, I was in jail with her last night. With Tess, and like just all this stuff, right?
Oh, wow.
So when we started getting the tips after it was declared a homicide, we were told like we would go in the neighborhood. People were local to the neighborhood. So we would go check them out at their work. They didn't know they were working at local stores. It turns out they're completely innocent.
Yeah.
I would even go for a pint in the middle of it all and look at people and think, is that him? Like, a white guy with kind of looked like a little facial hair, like the we only had that surveillance to go on. So we didn't end up getting the wigs because the cops, but by the time homicide took over, they told us, we said, do we need to go and make a scene like we did when Tess was missing? And he said no. And he basically, it's his way of saying they were on to someone. They kept us we really did want to go nuts and get like wigs and stuff. Like, I mean, we were still hunting around the neighborhood.
It's one of the most amazing parts about the story is how much you guys loved your sister. You guys were willing to go like, I'm going to put myself on a hook as bait for a serial killer to find out who this asshole is. Wow. You guys are crazy for it. You guys are crazy for it, but like in the greatest of ways, right?
Yeah.
Like,
we're a family of women, and it's nothing against men. We're just a family of, she's a single mom of 5 girls.
Yeah.
we've always kind of done things on our own. We've been very like an independent family from a young age. We didn't have to, like, we loved having boyfriends and things like that, but it wasn't like our, you know, end all be all. You know, we got our hearts broken, like Tess did, and things like that. But you know, we're not gonna wait for anyone when it comes to our family. We're not gonna wait for anyone to send. Like, we're not gonna be quiet. We're not going to be. And we're not that family. A lot of families are more dignified, it seems. Like, if the victim witness office had to warn people about us. You know, they were on our side. They kind of hated us too, because we were loud. We're like not accepting.
And nobody in an authority figure wants the status quo.
Especially by a single mom from Northern Ontario. Like, this small little woman from, you know, just had such ripple effect.
Good. Great. Good for her. Because otherwise, I think, and we'll get more into it later, I think nothing would have happened.
Yeah, she is. I think she's the mama bear.
For sure. Like, so crazy. So on that, speaking of mama bear stuff, what did you guys think when the first reports came out and they said that your sister was a sex worker?
So obviously that was just insult to a terrible injury, to pain. But at that point, it was sort of like, we knew we had to deal with that at some point, but that wasn't the immediate concern. We were waiting for like,
where did that come from? Is that a police officer who said that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was absolutely leaked to the press by the police. Yes, they were trying to take these
cops are fucking assholes, man. It's so crazy. Like, not every cop, don't get me wrong.
It's crazy what people will do to make themselves or their organization look good, even if it's off the back of the murder.
It just makes it easier. It makes their job easier to go, like, just another sex worker. Fuck them. They weren't expecting the hurricane of the Richeys, though. That's amazing to me. So
no, they sure were. That's for sure. That is for sure. And I do believe that's, you know, I missed out on a lot because I thought I had more time. So at least I hope in death, I'm showing the devotion. We're showing the devotion that I didn't necessarily. I mean, I loved her, and we wrote letters, and I visited her lots. And there's lots of, I've got a t-shirt front, like, you know, it's not like that, but I did live abroad and I was going to school at the time. So my head.
Varina, you were kind of like a mom to her too. You were what, 14, 16 years older than her?
I was 14. I certainly wasn't.
Did you change her diapers? Did you feed her as a baby? Yeah. Those kind of things are all, she was your, like, yes, she was
all our baby.
And honestly, I understand that.
She was all our baby. We were all these older sisters, all our baby. It's hard to explain. And it's kind of a codependent.
It's not hard to explain. I think a lot of people honestly would understand that, Varina. And I'm
sure it's just that normal guilt and regret that you have.
Of course. And that's what I was trying to say. It's so normal. And
somebody's ripped away from you like this, but
I'm so sorry, Varina.
No, it's okay. I do this anyway, like 10 times a day on my own. Like, I go from laughing to crying to, you know, it's a weird place to be in, but it's I'm trying to keep my head above water.
It's so fresh, Varina, and it's probably going to be like this for the rest of your life.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. There's no doubt. It's terminal, like with a normal life expectancy, basically. You know, I'm okay if as long as you're not uncomfortable with the with the tears, because that'll happen. But
we need them, and I understand it. And people need to understand that
my heart is totally broken. Like, I can't even, like, just losing her that way. She was so happy that night. She was like, even though she was sad in the surveillance video, she was having a good time.
Of course. Yeah, I've watched it. She looks like she's having a blast. She looks like any one of us would have done having a party night, you know? This is where Varina and I had some technical difficulties, and we had to restart a portion of our conversation. So sorry about that. I kind of forgot where we left off here.
Me too. I'm so sorry about that. Just when you start to sink your teeth into it and everything happened. And
oh no, I was talking about I remember where I was at. Okay. So we were just finishing up basically because I asked you about the media, where they got the sex worker stuff from, and that was from the police, which I didn't understand. It didn't really make sense to me where they had gotten that from. They just make that up because
I imagine it had something to do with the brass rails.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It probably, when reporting her missing, they probably, they were told where she worked.
Was she working there? She was hostess there for what, 2 weeks? Didn't she say?
Not long. Yeah, not long. But regardless, so we're
cares if you could make shit tons of money working as a hostess at a brass rail, fucking give her.
Absolutely. And if she was a sex worker, it wouldn't make any difference to us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's reassuring to hear. Like, a lot of people would be. I know you guys would.
No, in fact, when she was missing, I started to wish she had a drug problem. Maybe she's got a drug problem and she's out on a bender.
Yeah.
You start to wish things that you'd never normally wish for your sister, but now you're desperately wishing that's the case. We were kind of prepared too that maybe they were withholding something from us. Maybe she had a double life, but when the police said that it had no bearing on the case, it didn't really clarify. It just still made it sound like she's possibly still a sex worker, but that's not how she came across the killer kind of thing. But whereas
and sex workers get the short end of a stick all the time anyway. It doesn't matter if police go, oh, it didn't really make a bearing on it. It did for sure. You would go looking for Olympic superstar, whatever, tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah, hooker, you go, you know what, I'll deal with that tomorrow.
And I think it was their way of sort of trying to get the public on their side when the horrifying facts came out that, I mean, they tried to take credit for finding Tess too, right?
Yeah, no, I loved how your mom was like, we found her right the same fucking day of the press conference. So great. Okay, so we were, sorry, you were talking about, I wanted to get into this too, because I know you want to get into it a bit. So I noticed that your new Facebook post picture, we're friends on Facebook now, right? It's side by side of Tess and Laura Wells. We talked about her shit tons in the episode because I feel like she got a shaft on the whole thing.
I believe that too, yeah.
Yeah, and what did you caption it with? You captioned it with Toronto police reassure public there's no serial killer.
It was the caption from the newspaper. That's all it was. I just reposted it.
Yeah.
It was just a caption from the newspaper at the time.
Yeah. So one of our hosts asked if they looked into Kaylin for the murder of Alora. Like I didn't think so, but like, fuck, man, seeing them side by side like that.
You know what? I would, but you know what? She was found far from the village and he was sloppy. He didn't have a car. I doubt that simply because, you know what? I never occurred to me to actually think that, to be honest. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I do believe Tess was his first hit. And I do believe he maybe got a thirst for something when he had that brush with the law, in the sense that he kind of saved some guy's life, apparently. So 3 months earlier, you know, and I don't think he was involved in I don't think so. I truly believe, because he had been in the neighborhood 4 weekends before looking for his first target, and it was my sister. So I really don't believe he had anything to do with it, but I do believe whoever did, kind of, if it wasn't MacArthur, had the same sort of carte blanche to operate in the neighborhood. Felt that you know, nothing was being done, nobody would notice, no big deal, right?
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear this from anyone before, just you now. So he was out in the village for 4 weekends before.
Yeah, that's from the trial. So his phone pinged every weekend in the neighborhood leading up to my sister's homicide, and following her homicide, he didn't ping there.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, he didn't ping there for a while. And then he complained to somebody about having the worst weekend of his life. On his text, you know, and you're just like,
what a piece of trash. Like, anyways, call the fucking cops. If you want to stick to, like, I don't know, something bad must happen, fucking tell someone something bad.
He did.
Anyway. Yeah.
He turned himself in the day his picture was released.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. We didn't know that until the trial again, but he had actually come forward, but he lawyered up before he came to the police. That's the thing. Serial killers get better. That's what happens. Unfortunately, until they're caught, they get better at their...
Is that what everyone thinks of Schlatter? They think he would have been moving on more and more?
100%. He's a cold-blooded killer. He's absolutely... He didn't even want to... I'm sorry, like penetrative sexual assault. You know, it was the murder. It was that's the turn on for him. Taking her life.
And usually if there's going to be a sex crime involved, it's not going to be with her pants on. So obviously he liked the fucking what happened, right? Like, fuck, what a psycho. Yeah. So between your mom and them finding Tess and the capturing of Ass Clown, what was going on in the background with your family? Were your parents like, or your mom just hammering down on the cops every day?
That was a weird part. It was just nothing but sadness, and you knew somebody was out there possibly looking at our pain. My mom didn't even want us really posting about our grief. She was worried he was looking and getting off on that.
Oh fuck, imagine. I didn't even think of that side of things. That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was sort of like that. And, you know, I did ask, he had deleted all his social medias. So they weren't able to pull it up when they did the phone, when they did the sweep of his phone, or phone, or it just wasn't relevant to the trial, so we didn't hear any of it.
Okay, so I see in the articles and stuff that once they moved over to the detectives, you guys were okay with the cops. So how were the detectives?
That's a strange relationship. I mean, again, once we got to trial, we found out like the slop. I mean, and again, I do all due respect to them. They, Gibson and Lumanis, like they've put up with a lot from my family.
Like what?
Grieving, crazy grief, just texting him all the time at all hours. Just like my mom and him have, like they went when the verdict came in, they made a pact not to fight anymore, and then they had a big fight. Like,
oh, your mom was fighting with Lumanis the whole time, or?
Oh yeah, they argue with each other all the time. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Big time. They have the real.
He seems like he just got Twitter. Have you seen?
No, I got kicked off Twitter. So.
Oh yes, you told me that. You got.
Yeah, I'm not that into it anymore. I'm not that into Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got kicked off. So I did not know Lumanis had a Twitter account. That's interesting. Thank you for that.
But I guess part of the
said he only got a Twitter account after I got kicked off.
Yeah, January 1st he got it. So maybe that was a part of their new initiative to get some sort of tips through social media, right? Because all of them have it now. I don't know if that's just me speculating. I don't know.
That's possible.
Yeah. Now I got a funny question, not a serious question about Lumanis. He looks like he goes in a tanning bed. Can we confirm or deny? Is he a tanning bed kind of guy? He looks like he's tanned.
I don't know that he has, but I definitely would want if somebody was going to be a tanning bed person, it would be Ted.
He seems like a great guy. Huge push. Okay, well then there was action with the homicide detectives at least, right? Like you probably didn't see it all happening during the time, but once trial came out, you're like, okay, these guys fucking during the trial, you guys must have seen how much work they actually did and actually like, wow.
You do. But yeah, that's what I was getting at. There was some things we were very disappointed with. I don't understand why they didn't get the judicial authorization for recording between the cell insertion. That's kind of what the appeal's hinging on as well. It could have been just like, wait, you got him in custody, wait. But I just felt like, that caused so much, like that was like the big thing at the trial. That was like just such a circus.
Yeah, the cops are they're allowed to do that. From what I understand, they're allowed to plant people, but they're not allowed to like talk to them. They're just allowed to like answer their questions, kind of thing.
Yeah, but you blatantly heard. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but you blatantly heard one of the UC start the conversation. You've heard it from the booking area camera.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't get like. Is there any chance for him to get appeal off of this shit? Do you think?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Imagine.
I mean, I assume it sounds like it's standard protocol that this is what all convicted killers do. Their last chance at saving their ass.
No, you got to. If you're gonna get a life in jail, you're gonna try to appeal it, right? It doesn't matter who you are. Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope the undercover thing isn't gonna affect.
They didn't take swabs from her neck.
Really?
To try and match to a scarf. Well, they said that it wouldn't matter because if he was wearing a scarf and they had a consensual encounter, as he's maintaining that. But like there was no until the informant took the stand, we walked out feeling like he was completely getting off. Like
Oh wow.
Yeah, we were defeated.
Wow.
And then the informant took the stand, and suddenly Ted's told us that one day we're going to go for a drink after the appeal's heard, and he's going to answer our questions and be able to win the appeal. So, we'll be able to ask more about why these things.
You know what? I bet being a homicide detective is a fucking hard job.
Yeah, I do. And that's why it's, again,
I'm sure you guys, texting him and all that kind of stuff he probably gets that all the time. He probably didn't care about that. He cared more about the little slip-ups that you guys see or the big slip-ups that you guys see, and probably stresses about that just as much as you guys do.
Right.
You don't get into like homicide detecting if you don't give a shit about people. I firmly believe that,
there's, what, every time we sent a text, whatever time it was minutes.
Well, good for him. Good for him.
Whatever time of the day it was, like middle of the night, within minutes. There was never a long waiting period at all. And you got 5 of us, my mother and me and my 3 sisters texting him. So we certainly didn't make his job easy. So I just want to point out he's still a police officer. So obviously, there's a little bit of probably
there's venting about you guys guaranteed to his partner at least, like fuck these girls won't leave me alone, but fuck them.
We turn around and then we're happy with the result, but then we turn around and if it was personal at Ted, he would have been named that they're directly, we're trying to keep them separate as much as possible because
I know they've all lawyered up, those 2 cops especially. Have they even said like fuck, shit, sorry or anything? Like have they
No, but they can't, right? Because they haven't had misconduct
That's true.
hearings yet. They haven't had, so they have to wait apparently till the appeals heard before they even have their misconduct. So we'll
Yeah.
have to wait and see on that. I mean, it sounds like the police as an organization, well, I mean, they've 100% accepted their responsibility
Yes.
the other
I
day.
saw
So
that. We'll talk
they
about that
can't
in a
really,
bit too.
yeah, they can't really say that then there was no failure, right? With those two officers.
Oh, for sure. I noticed Mark Saunders isn't chief of police anymore. Do you think that has to do with you guys? Do you guys think you put pressure on him to get him the fuck out of there?
Yeah, 100%. Or or like, I mean, just it was going so disastrously that it was like, I think he's got not the greatest health either.
On his little speech on the way out, he made it sound like, oh, I'm just done. But they just hired him to go on for another year. So I'm assuming it was you guys. I don't know. That's just me talking. I'm assuming it's part of that you guys just pressured, not just you, but everyone involved in the whole.
He resigned there was a couple of days within being served and our press conference, and he resigned somewhere in the middle of that. So timing, coincidental, I don't know, but it sure looks.
Well, to me as a layman whose hat wasn't around, it looks like you guys just pressured him the fuck out. That's good. Didn't he get annoyed with you guys calling him? Like, didn't the detective have to tell you guys to stop calling?
Yeah, that was my mom. That's my mom. Not even tell. It's just my mom. My mom is not going to just sit there and just be told that this is how it is and that's it, right? She's got questions. She wants to know about changes. She wants to know what's going on. So she was calling pretty frequently, and just the one opportunity that he had was that Ted was at trial with us every day, and Ted was like, no.
I legit love it. I love your mom.
My mom's not gonna stop. Yeah,
she's the greatest. Like,
yeah, wow. she's OG, man.
She's so awesome.
She's totally gangster. I'm like, I'm still scared of her, and I'm in my 40s. Like, okay. My mom, and I mean, my mom's gangster, so if she says she's gonna do something.
The cops did not know what was coming, and you guys did. Like, soon as you saw her on a warpath, you're like, fucking cops don't know what they're coming for. I guarantee it.
I'm not under any illusions about my mother. I mean, she's and not in a bad way. I mean, I know she's a very strong, passionate, and stubborn.
Yeah, person, for sure.
And I think that's. I think they're great qualities. That's not me criticizing. It certainly came I'm very, like I said, I'm very proud of those qualities.
Yeah. We're all super proud of her. Us as a team, like the four of us are like, wow, like shining. You guys, you two, you shouldn't sell yourself short. You guys were all in the front doing what you needed to do. And it's awesome.
Yeah. But she was like, she's the one who had to find her. And, it's her youngest, it's her baby. And it's,
I can't imagine that part.
The people you want that you would normally run to, say if you were going through something that you'd run to, are the same people that are just going through the same thing. They're just as devastated. They can't really support you. You can't support them because we're all for sure in a shit shape, So but my mom, I'm very proud of her holding up, going to the trial every day.
She went every single day. Did you miss out on any days?
I did. There was a couple days where I actually like in my head, because I was taking notes. I was like, I had kind of strategically, hey, if I run and stick this in his throat and squiggle or whatever that is, scramble, I don't know what that is. So there was a couple days where I was like super angry and I couldn't trust myself. Like I was actually almost violent myself. Like I felt like I was in danger of getting shot by a bailiff because I keep it in check. So I kind of did. There was a couple of days, and they were mostly the days like where like I didn't go for the pathologist. I didn't want to see photos.
No, for sure.
That's I did. My sisters are very brave. They were able to stay in there, but I was a total coward. I couldn't do it.
You went to pretrial though, right? A lot of people couldn't go to pretrial. Yeah.
No, none of them did. I did.
Was there any crazy things at pretrial that they didn't actually get into court?
Yeah. So the first day, and I mean, that was horrible, but they played a 10-minute video they found on his phone that
they played the porn.
Yeah. Well, no, but it was in open court, but it wasn't, it was the pre-trial where they were determining what was going in. But yeah, they played, like we were all sitting in the room together. It was on every monitor in the courtroom.
Oh my God, that's so gross.
Oh, it was awful. And it was 10 minutes long. And I know she was down there. So 10 minutes of listening to that video, which was effectively like living through my sister's actual homicide. So it was almost identical. But the video was 10 minutes and he was down there for 45. 10 minutes was, 10 minutes of listening to that video. I had to put my head down, but I refused to leave. Refused because it was only the first day too. And I was like, I'm not going to be forced out of here the first day. But had I known, I don't know. Yeah, so I did, and it was, I couldn't imagine 45, whatever. I mean, they said it's quick. She was probably already gone, and he was doing other weird things, but
yeah. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Put in the time. It's okay.
I'm so sorry you had to sit there through that. I didn't know they did the whole thing. I knew they like talked about it in pre-trial. I didn't know they showed it. That's fucked. That's crazy.
I wrote down, like, in my notes, I have like where to find the video on the website. Like, I'm never going to go look for it, but they said they were going to play a short pornographic video.
Everyone must have been just horrified that was playing. Like,
well, once the press realized that they weren't able to report on it, they took off. So they were not going to come back for the 2 weeks until the trial actually started. It was me. It was my supporters from the 519, a therapy dog, and the lady that came with the therapy dog, Shatter's family. Himself, a couple members of the press. There was a member of the public that showed up every day. And then there was sometimes students that came in. So at that time, it was 4:00 in the afternoon. It was the first day. It was kind of late in the day, I guess, as far as court standards go. So there were very few people in the courtroom. But it was me, him, and his family. Yeah.
Oh, God. And like, how close were they to you guys? Arm length?
No. God, no.
Shoe throw length?
But probably about, let's say about maybe 12 feet.
And you found out some more weird shit about them in the pre-trials, how he liked to be naked. They walk around naked in front of each other. At home they do that?
Yeah. And then he'd had lots of one night stands.
Oh, hot.
And like she was like used to it. I guess they had a little parade. And I mean, I did hear from people in pre-trial as well that he had a normal sex life, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was a little more exciting than maybe ours was, or mine is, well, not ours. But...
I know you looked at me and said he didn't have an exciting one, which I'm okay with that.
Well, no, I know. I mean, like, I just mean like did have threesomes, and there was, people that testified to that.
Yeah,
the people that he had them with. So, he was having normal.
Yeah.
Sort of the things that he bragged about, but then so there was, I guess, women leaving his house a lot, and his mom got him jobs at the university posing naked for those art classes.
She used to do that too, right?
She does it as well. They did a search on the word bath, and it came up like 56 times. Just the time they started checking his phone from the first month, probably around the 1st of November to his arrest.
Yeah,
they like to. My understanding is take together,
like him and his mom and his dad,
like as adults, like not as kids. Like,
I can't even imagine getting in a bath with my mom. I'd be so grossed out.
Right. So the judge, and apparently there was even a girlfriend one time, so the judge wouldn't let it go before the jury either. He said it was like, well, it might be unsafe. I think it was something along the lines as terminology was, well, it might be unsavory lifestyle choice. It's not exactly criminal, and it doesn't really necessarily have a bearing on whether or not he did what he did in the stairwell.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad he didn't, and they still got him, because he fucking hammered down with it at the end too of the trial, right? He was like, the jury didn't get to see what I saw, but I saw it. So fuck you, basically, is what he said. It was great. Was the judge good? Did you guys find that Justice? I didn't. Dambrot, that's right.
Dambrot, yeah. He was interesting. He came in with the friendliest face the first day.
Yeah.
And it was like, this guy's like a judge on a murder trial. Like he's, not that he was, not because I took exception to him being pleasant. Of course not. It's professional. Like we introduced it, the counsels introduced themselves, and so it wasn't in that way. It just looked like, he looked like a really nice, like a grandpa, like, cool. Mm-hmm. And then the first time I saw him lose his shit, I was like, oh, okay, this guy can.
Well, what do you lose it? How many times do you lose his shit? Like, what do you lose his shit over?
Many times. One time he had to throw Helga out.
What did Helga do?
The mother of Schlatter's mother, Helga Schlatter. They had to throw. Then there was a journalist. His GPS came on, and it just said, "Turn left, and your destination is here." It was through the courthouse. It was like, they're 361 University Avenue. So the judge said to him, the judge was like, "Would you like to leave?" And the guy was like, "No, sorry." And the judge was like, "Leave."
Oh God.
Like, sorry, I didn't mean to rephrase. I didn't mean to ask it in a question form. I meant to say, get out. So he kicked him out.
That's great. He sounds like a character and a half anyway.
Yeah, he told off Lydia Riva, who was counsel for the defense, many times. Like it was almost, at first it was like really cringy. Like I have a thick skin, but I was like, wow, like she keeps getting told off. And then you get kind of used to it.
I didn't really do as much research on her as I should have. Is she like an expensive lawyer? Like, are they rich kids? Like, is he a rich kid?
No. Well, we were under that impression, but it sounds like no. It sounds like his dad has a job. Him a job. Yeah, they own a house in Toronto.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty rich then, bringing the house in Toronto.
Exactly. Like, so there's maybe asset, but they're not.
I hope they leveraged their whole mortgage on the defense, and I hope they lose their house.
No, we're all paying for that. Are you kidding?
What do you mean?
Yeah, legal aid. That was legal aid.
Really?
And he's getting legal aid again for his appeal. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where he's got the lawyer for the civil case, but
wow.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Yeah. I was telling the other girls about how you were telling me they almost showed his dick in court just to show how big his cock was. Like, how fucking like, I don't understand
that was so. I actually had a dream about that after we talked about it. I'm not kidding. Like, it was a nightmare rather. I woke up like it was back to sort of, we had to decide whether. So that was again the conversation me and my mom had.
Yes.
Which was, we knew that they were there was a picture that they wanted to introduce and was going to be introduced as an exhibit. And it was meant to be a naked selfie that he sent to someone. He bragged about being, that was, I guess that was context in which to introduce that picture, was that he bragged about the size. He bragged about his prowess. Yeah. So the picture was going to be introduced, and it was introduced. But we weren't sure how it was good, because they don't really keep us updated. They like, even if it's going to be a crime scene photo, like we don't get a lot of notice.
Okay.
Like they kind of like give us a head nod and we have to get out really fast. So there's not a lot of notice. So we were learning this as we were getting through the days of the trial. And so we learned that the picture was going to be posted. My mom and I actually were like, "Are you going to look?" Like, I was like, "Oh, it's so gross. Like, I don't want to," but at the same time, like, is it relative to the case? Like, we had to be like weigh out kind of the pros and cons of why we would look at something like that.
I don't understand why they would even put it in the trial. It doesn't.
Well, I can't remember. And I'll be honest with you. I took notes. I can't remember the context of that. Like, there's some days where it's just a blur just from emotion. So
some things feel like he just was like, show him the picture of my dick, right, guys? And everyone's like, no, we don't want to.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the defense. I think it was the Crown.
Really?
Yeah, it was the Crown though that wanted it introduced. Yeah, it was our side that wanted it.
Maybe it was to prove that he was a liar because he actually had a micro dick.
I think it was to prove that everything he said. I think they were trying to prove everything that he said to the UCs was true. So that everything magic he talked about, they did a search on his phone about magic.
Yeah. Magic the Gathering for everyone who's listening.
Yeah, the magic game, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when they did the term search, that's when, they wanted to find out, because he told the cops that he doesn't mind being naked. He's proud of his big
weirdo,
whatever. And yeah, whatever. Right.
Oh, I got you. So they would show that he actually does have a big dick.
The picture was to show that he thinks this, or that he's obviously very proud, that like he's have no shame the way he's like, so they're trying to prove that actually everything he said in those cells was actually true. Right. I think is the context. I took notes, but some
no. And you know what?
I don't know why. I'm like, I can't remember why me and my mom were debating whether or not to look at my sister's murder's naked selfie.
Weirdo.
Like, it's so, when you put it like, it's bluntly, it's almost like, yeah, hilarious, because it's like, it is, but it's not
like this whole story's sad, but there's always funny shit that happens in life, right?
Dark humor, because I could look back on it. I'm like, that's really the discussion we had to have, and
for sure.
It's weird, but
for sure
was real. It was our reality.
Yeah, there's funny stuff. We talked on the phone about how when COVID started, you guys had to exit and come back in the room a bunch of times, and you what happened? That's a funny story too. I would like to.
Well, that wasn't even COVID. That was because of the undercover.
Oh, that's right.
So we'd have to leave. And then they bring them in, so none of us could see them being brought in. And they'd be behind the screens, and then we'd be allowed back in.
Just for reference, so people understand. So when they would bring in the undercover cops, so no one would, none of the people that were in the courtroom would see who they were. They'd have to empty out the courtroom, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. The UCs, the undercover. There's UC1 and UC2. Yeah. So there's two undercover officers. So UC1 and they testified separately because they're not allowed to share notes. So one had to sort of corroborate. So the defense was finding holes in what one was saying and the other, because they would come out of their cells while they were undercover and make notes. and then go back in the cell and then come back out. And then they would do their final sort of, because they still work in that capacity for TPS. None of us could see their faces.
Oh, so they're still undercovers. That's why they didn't want to show anybody's face.
Right.
See, there you go.
Like there's a lot of people who got anonymity, but we were allowed to see them because it was an open court.
Of course.
But they just were the publication ban, right?
Yeah.
So with the UCs, none of us were allowed to see them. We'd shuffle in, then we'd have to leave so they could bring them in because we'd have to open court, wait for the judge. So they'd have to send us out. They'd bring in the UC. Lydia, of course, would say, well, actually, Judge, I wanted to bring something up and not in front of the UCs after we got settled back into the court. So then we'd have to leave again. And then they'd have to take them out. Then we could come back in and hear what Lydia was asking the judge. Then we'd have to leave again. They'd bring the UC back in. Then it could get seriously ridiculous.
Yeah, and how close did you have to get to like the Schlatters and the other side of people? Like how fucking nearby did you have to get to them?
Well, and that's the worst part. I mean, we would sometimes hear something like shocking and want to say something to each other, but the Schlatters are there, journalists are there, the defense counsel's there, people from the public are there overhearing. So we're trying our best to kind of shake them off. We did our best to avoid them, but it was unavoidable. Helga took my sister's table one point downstairs at the cafe, I heard.
She took your sister's table.
My sister told me that. One of my sisters told me that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like that they picked the table, but then they had to get up and get something because it's like a self-serve kind of, you go up and it's like a tray, and I guess she like literally took their table and looked them in the eye when she did it, but I wasn't there.
What kind of a weird power play move is that? Like
it was weird. She did some weird stuff. Curtsying.
She curtsied? I didn't hear this one.
Curtsied her son. Yeah, she would curtsy her son when they brought him in.
I'm sorry for laughing, but what?
Oh, no, I know. It was insanity. We were just like, I don't even look at my lovers like that. It was gooey. It was like, she was almost like in a daze.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was like just this weird grin and this, it was so uncomfortable.
I'm going to force this story out of you because I really like it. So one time you guys bumped into each other.
That was horrible. Oh my goodness. You know what? The Helga story, that was actually pretty traumatic, but
it's only funny because you with the wording you use. So I'm sorry, I'm forcing it out of you.
But no, it's fine because it is. You know what? It's my story to tell. It's not something that happened to another family member.
Yeah.
Although to tell the cafeteria story. So one day, I think I was rushing. I don't think I was late, but it was like, you know, the judge always is a little bit late. So I was like, I wanted to be on time, have my seat, not miss a thing. There's like there's a first set of heavy doors, and then there's like a middle buffer area, and then there's another set. So when you open the doors, the commissioner, I believe they're called, they hear the doors open, and then they open the doors to see who's trying to come in while court's going on, or they try to, you know, they take control of the doors and send you on your way so that there's no banging and interrupting in the proceedings. I remember just pulling the door open, and I knew that the commissioner would usually open it, but I took the door furthest from them because I was just trying to get past them fast and get to the seat. And just as I opened the second, and in my rush, complete horrible nightmare timing, I smashed into Helga.
Oh no.
And I mean, face to face, body to body.
Are you guys the same height and everything?
It seemed. Yeah. It seemed. I mean, it was very fast because first we were both, I think, you know, she liked to play games, but I think she was just as shocked.
Of course, for sure.
She was quite prepared either because I saw her go, oh my God, sorry. And I went, like, I remember yelling expletive. Like, I was that, get off me. Like, I'm still trying to get in there. And like, you're still in my way still, right? Like, it wasn't just that we collided. It was then trying to get out of it.
Like the grinding and trying to get across each other.
It was awful. And so everyone turned to look. But thank God the judge, I don't believe the judge was not in there at that point, thankfully. And everyone turned to look, but nobody had seen what happened. So I walked over to where my mom and all our supporters were sitting, that far end of the courtroom. And I went, and my mom's kind of looking out, like looking at me, like, cause she had heard the commotion, but she didn't know what the hell was going on. So I was like, and I didn't know that they didn't see it. Like, I was, did you see that? Like, did you see that? She's like, my mom's like, no, what happened? What happened? And I'm like, my titties touched Helga's titties. And And my mom was like, oh no, like she felt my pain for
Oh
me. Like
God.
it was like she totally knew what must have happened because she kind of heard the commotion. She
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it together because I was like,
Oh
what?
God.
And then I could hear laughter kind of within our side, the way I was kind of like fake crying, but still like, oh my God, I did not want to start my day like
Oh,
that. Like I
God.
felt like, even though she didn't violate me, I felt violated. Oh
No,
my
of course.
God, it was awful.
It's such a human thing. That's what I was telling you on the phone. It's such like
Yeah.
where everyone's like, we're on this side, we're on that side, but you guys did that one human thing where you guys bumped into each other, and she probably had the exact same thought as you, like, fuck, I just touched Varina's titties, and went and sat over on her side. It's so human. It's
just that, like, you know, that these things, they're awkward. You can't sort of, there's nothing you can do. And it was like shocking, but at the same time, I'm weird. So I put a weird humor to it. Like I was like,
there's a huge thing going on around you guys, super life impacting and everything else.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, everyone can still have their human moment. Right. And I find that so, and you guys were intimidating a force, I would imagine, in the courtroom too. Like when Schlatter was up there, you guys must've just been fuck the you and just staring him down like a little.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, well, and you know, he had to turn and face me every time he was cuffed and uncuffed. So that was several times a day if you factor in recesses and lunches. And
how long was he on the stand for? Yeah,
the stand itself, he was on for about an hour the first day, which he was that was examination in chief. And then whatever he said, Bev stood up. That's our side, the crown, the lead crown.
Yeah,
stood up and she said to the judge, she asked for his indulgence to not begin her cross-examination till the next day. She said she apologizes because we had so many different problems with the trial. She apologized and sent us on our way. So we returned the next day, and definitely a full courtroom that day. That's when Bev, I would say, destroyed him.
Yeah, I heard that part of the trial where he just had no answers for anything, and he just tried his best to dig himself deeper and deeper, right?
It was horrible for him. I mean, I couldn't believe he took the stand.
You should never take the stand. That's even if you're innocent, you should never take the stand because they're going to try and twist everything you say into making it sound like you did it anyway. So you might as well just stay off the stand. So he must have been desperate.
That's it. Yeah, he must have been, or he still thinks he's smarter than everyone. I don't know what's going on.
I can't believe that guy would think he's smarter than anyone, honestly. Like as soon as you first of all, you turned yourself in, stupid. You drank in front of police officers and put your shit in the garbage, stupid. You talked to the two guys beside you in a
and that's why he got caught.
Stupid.
That's why he was going to get better at his craft, but he was so sloppy. He was so stupid the first time. And I mean,
no, but if he thinks he was smart, he is stupid. You know what I mean? If you think you're smart after what you did, you're stupid. All of it's stupid. You're not a smart guy.
Oh, and there was so much we didn't know. Like I didn't know like the last name. I was like, oh, I'd keep listening to the video of him speaking on global news, and I couldn't tell if he was foreign or not foreign. Not that it mattered. It was just trying to learn anything about him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is he okay? Schlatter. Oh, why is his father's name Bird? And why do they refer to his father? They say it's his father, not his stepfather. But even in text messages, Peter's going to get dinner. Did you want anything?
So this is something I didn't really know anything about. So he was different last name was Bird, but he in text messages he would call him Peter, not Dad.
His mother would she would say, hey, you know, I hate calling him by his first name. It totally humanizes him, and he's not human. She would say to her son, hey, do you want this for dinner? Peter's going to Panera or whatever.
Oh,
you know,
so it's a weird way of communicating. I don't know. My parents would say your dad or your mom, right?
But she's Helga Schlatter. Yeah. But even somebody there was a blog that I found, somebody that lived with them before the boys were born, and she was with Peter Bird then. So he's meant to be the father. Like the timing before, like it's
just imagine that's such a hey man, it's the 21st century. If you want to take your mom's last name, that's cool, I guess. But
this isn't any of these things. Like, is he foreign? Or these are not any kind of
of course, anything
of course, terrible like that, because I don't think that. It's just trying to find out what we could. They wouldn't tell us anything. They wouldn't even give us his birthday, so I could have a beer and toast him in jail. I had to find out, and then the trial starts, and they give us everything. Like, why couldn't you just tell us that?
This is
we just want to know. There's nothing, we're not going to open accounts in his name.
Like I said to you, we were talking on the phone, it's like knowing a lot is a good form of, like, when you lost control and shit, it's a good way of like having to be able to separate it in your mind and keep it under as much control as you possibly can, right? So now you're having a hard time even knowing what he does in jail, right?
Right, exactly. And you know, and you're never going to know what goes on with somebody's head like that, but the control, that is one aspect of it. But
okay, all
of a sudden our lives are just totally destroyed. Who did this? Why?
Yeah, for sure.
Who did this? Like, who who's this person? So, and then you expect you always expect the guy to be like driving some shitty vehicle with white, with a white tank top on and missing teeth and some gross, greasy, killer looking guy like Ivan Milet or, but you've got this guy that
he's a fucking nerd.
He looks like somebody I'd probably chat to in the street, not because I think he looks cool or anything, just, he looks normal.
Yeah, he's a nerd. He's a little nerd, which is different, right? It's not what you expect. The media makes it sound like all murderers have tattoos on their faces and want to like eat your children and talk about it openly, right? But by that description, look at me. I'm covered, right?
Well,
and plus I got a bald head.
And that's right. Sure. Like that's what you can't, and that's what I mean. Like it's not about and that's what I'm saying. It's not about him being foreign. Yeah. It's not about appearances. It's not that those are any kind of strikes against him. It was just when you're when your whole life, when your sister has been murdered and your family's destroyed, like you just know that this is it, and it's all over the news. Who did this?
And I feel like what you're explaining is just what I'm talking about with the control is like, who took the control away from my life and how can I get my control back? And why is this,
absolutely,
and it's not a bad thing. This is natural. And this is what I would do too, is like, tell me every last bit of this fuckhead.
Because who does this? I just didn't understand who does this. Like, I get that there's, and I know I went to, I've taken a lot of crime courses.
Yeah.
I know about a lot of this stuff. At the end of the day, again, it's the objective and subjective. When it's like, okay, I know that, there's a profile and whatever, but me and like, okay, somebody murdered my sister. Who?
Yeah. Why?
Who's this little shit? Who's this little shit?
Yeah.
Who's this little shit? Like, when, how old is he? Where is he? What's his family? What happened? Why was it taken out on my sister in a stairwell? You know what I mean? Why, like, how did these lives, these families collide all in one quick, horrible, violent act? So, you just kind of want to know, like, you're just curious, right? In the same way that people were curious in the public about what Tess's family was like or what Tess is like.
No, and that's part of the reason people like true crime in general is that it gives you some sense of like, well, how did this happen to them and how can I keep it from happening to me? And it's just
that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to even put it into a public service announcement, because what am I supposed to say? Don't go out, don't go meet new people.
No, there's no real answer. There's no straight answer to that.
This one is hard to, it's not like it was a domestic violence case where I can say, okay, or this guy had a previous conviction of something similar and he was still let out to continue to offend. That didn't happen. There's no real fuck up, like, other than the cops with allowing him to work there. He was always going to be a murderer. Like, he was just not going to, it wouldn't have been my sister. It would not have been my sister if it wasn't for the police.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to say, and another family would be in our shoes.
Of course.
I'm not wishing that on them either.
No. Nobody thinks that
it just wouldn't have been my sister.
Yeah.
So.
No, and the cops are fucked for that. Like, we all know that you guys are suing the police right now and the bar and the family, the Schlatter family in general. I don't think you'll ever see any money from the Schlatters, but hopefully
you know what the reason for that is.
No, I don't. I'd like
to know. Actual reason for that. So. The reason for that is because if he does get parole, he'll be in his mid-40s.
Okay.
So if his parents die and he gets an inheritance or from the house, or it's so that he doesn't just get to walk back into life. And
when you said they pay him $250 a day or something too, right? So
apparently, I'm working on getting that confirmation, but it does seem. My understanding is that every prisoner
gets some sort of money,
$50 a day.
Yeah.
In prison, just for being in prison, so that the state wants to focus on rehabilitation as opposed to punitive,
of course,
reasons for, and I think some cases you can't be rehabilitated, right?
Yeah. I don't want to get too much into the lawsuits. I know it's still going on. I know everyone lawyered up. No forward progress on that. So that's cool. And I hope you get every dime from the police. I did see that they came out with the report this week.
Thank you.
The report came out this week. It was very damning. It wasn't going to help their case at all, I don't think. Let's talk about that a little bit today.
I don't know what it means. I didn't even, it definitely changes our case, obviously, but I didn't call my lawyer to ask because I don't really care.
My take from it was, I watched the press conference. I read a little bit of it's 1,100 pages, the report, and there's 151 different recommendations for the Toronto police, just for everyone who's listening, which recommendations, do you think they have to take any, like, do they have to do any of them? Or is it just recommendations like
they're going to do them? We're not going, like, I mean, we'll not stop. And I know how annoying we can be. I know how really like life affecting we can be. So do it. save us the fight. I'll be honest, I was prepared for a whitewash. And what we got was a profuse, full, complete apology and acceptance of responsibility. It was an incredible turn of events the other day, because really we were prepared because then in the email they said this is going to be a very upsetting and triggering time. So we thought, cool. It's going to be just, that it's all going to favor the police, and it's going to, because it's one, they're all in the same they're all the system, they're all the state, right?
I think the whole explosion after George Floyd and everything, cops would be stupid to just say cops are the best right now. You guys got, not saying that George Floyd's death was lucky or you guys got lucky in any way. What I'm trying to say is the timing on this was so perfect for reform. And it's amazing that. It really was in that sense. Like if it's the time for accountability, like it's a basic, your motto is to protect and serve. And it doesn't seem like you're doing a lot of the recommendations have to do with like civilian involvement, which I really like. I think that's something that they should have been doing a long time ago. I do like that they already put the missing persons force into effect with some civilians. So that's actually really amazing coming from that side of things. Right. I noticed that James Raymer, he kept saying that he says a lot of it wasn't intentional, but we are going to be doing better. Can you give us a chance? He was putting himself, he didn't really throw Mark Saunders under the bus as much as I thought he would.
No, I actually said, I think I took him as genuine. Like, actually, like, it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't change anything, but I did feel the apology was genuine.
I want the best for these police officers now that they've actually have something in front of them to work towards. And I hope you guys feel that way too, or you specifically, not your.
I went to university for law myself, and I understand the importance and the role of the legal system and the judicial system and the policing system and the roles. And I do think that definitely it needs revamping. I think that unions for police is a terrible idea.
No, well, it's government, man. You need to have unions of government though, because they'll just cut and cut and cut.
No, and that's true, but you got to find the between though. Like, I don't think that 120 officers should be suspended with full pay. Rough. One of our officers charged with misconduct in our case, he has a criminal record from something he did while a police officer already. He ordered a gun adapter that's illegal in Canada from the States. So he got in trouble. He got a criminal record, but he was on full pay for his whatever suspension that he got. And then he went back to work, and now he's been done again. Now, like, you can't have a criminal record to become a police officer, but you can totally acquire one and then get all the protections. Something needs to be fixed there too, I think.
Let's go a little bit in the future, and you guys get the lawsuit goes through, goes in your favor. Do you think they'll just get suspended and then put back into work, or do you think they'll get fucking fired?
Yeah, I think we even looked at what their maximum sentence, their maximum punishment could be, and it was something stupid like, a week without pay or a week with pay or something. I can't remember. Because I haven't looked too much into it lately. There's again, it's a lot of information. There's a lot of players in this whole.
No, I'm just asking what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, I think he shouldn't be serving anymore. Like, I don't think he's cut out to be a police officer. If he thinks he can break the law, if he doesn't think that he was condescending, they weren't just not doing their job. I mean, they were really rude to my mom. Like, when my mom found Tess and she went screaming at the street, the cop didn't even want to hear what she was saying. He was just more upset that she was freaking out. He was like, calm down. Calm down. Like, meanwhile, she's like in her head thinking my daughter might be able to be saved. Go save her. Even though she knew she was gone. She knew what she saw, but she still thought, like, save her. She's cop on the bicycle, just sitting there being a dick to her. Like a total dick. And that's, and this is sort of like, I think everyone's had to run in with a cop that's smug and they're not just trying to help they're kind of, they feel like they're superior and they're the authority. And, it feels, knowing how they treated my mom, there is a real sense of sort of poetic justice that they're all apologizing. The whole police force of Toronto, the biggest police force in the country, is going to change because of my mom and my sister, and of course all of Bruce McArthur's
and all victims. Bruce McArthur's victims, and Alora,
exactly. Like,
let's not forget about her. All of us.
What's not, and that's why I'm gonna keep. I want it up. I'm gonna, every time that there's like a burst of press, that's when I'm going to keep highlighting Alora. I'm going to take advantage of that. That's kind of, I'm learning not to say the game, but
no.
I think it can be mutually beneficial. That's why I'm speaking out. You know, it can be
I'm happy
mutually
you're
beneficial.
finding something to use the pain for, right? And if it's to help Laura, just a Laura, fuck yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like if I can just like, you know what I mean? Like try and shine a
Yeah.
light on that when there's a burst of press, just to, well, I was just going to say, I know in a horrible way, we're kind of the lucky ones.
And I agree.
We're not looking for Tessa's body. We're not looking for her killer. She wasn't found decomposed on the side of a road. She was laying there, but she was still intact, I guess. And there's something that I don't know why feels, if she was just bones or, decomposition at the side of the road, it would.
No, you found her and you put her to bed, it's
right. And we've got the person, and he's an for what, like, and I know how much that means, because I'd be going crazy if he was still walking the streets. I'd be like I said, hunting. I'd be like doing some crazy shit, I'll tell you that. And we got kind of that completion. It doesn't make it, we're not lucky, or it doesn't matter, but we certainly have, we know where she is. We've laid her to rest. And Laura, she's been found, but where's, her killer's walking around doing whatever, unless it's MacArthur. But it doesn't seem like it followed his normal sort of MO. So it's hard to say. It looks like somebody else might, operating as well.
With the MacArthur thing, I doubt it, because they had lots of pictures and everything else. He was a fuckhead too, right? So they would know by now. And whoever it is, fuck that guy.
I kind of feel that way. Feel that way.
Okay, so we went over they had the police report. Did you read a lot of it, or I tried? It's just long. Yeah,
I haven't read any of it. I actually have every intention of reading that. I tried to start sinking my teeth into it a couple times, and I needed to cut some time. I just needed some time.
From what you've seen so far, do you feel vindicated at all, like from the police, or
simply because I'm relieved that I don't have to fight? I really expected a whitewash the other day, and I thought, I'm so tired right now, like fighting. It's, we have to do it, and I will do it, but it's just, I am tired. It's not like it's just naturally
it takes a toll.
It comes easy, it's something. Yeah, it does. It really does. So some days I have to just step away from it. I looked into this
for like a month straight, a little bit, 2 months maybe, and it took a lot out of me, and I can't imagine living it, So I really, really, really appreciate you taking the time with me today. You're super awesome for doing it.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you sharing our story. I do. It's not an attention thing or anything like that. It's just
no. And for me, it's not ghoulish at all. I'm actually very interested, and I want you guys to be heard, honestly, because this true crime thing is so popular right now that people forget, and I want to put a little bit onto that. Also, if you have, I know you don't really, we kind of talked about this before, but if you have anything that the show or myself can do to help out, maybe have you ever, actually, here's a question I really have you ever thought of maybe trying to get on that missing persons thing for the state, for the Toronto police? Have you ever thought of that being like,
I thought about it. I did. I thought about it, and I don't think not now. I'm not emotionally stable enough to try and even, I'm trying to find, and some people seem to do that. Like, we were helped out by Tim's Tribute, which is Tim Bosma's family. They started a foundation that helps families at trial because it's so expensive, especially if it's out of your jurisdiction, right? And you're not given it much. You're like, we were given $5,000 for the whole family for 2 years of court cases in Toronto.
That's
hotels,
nothing. That's
food.
A month.
That's $1,000 each. That's one court date.
No, and you guys all put your lives on hold and everything else. So that's
completely, and it comes out of your own pocket, and and it's you're gonna do it. But they noticed, they knew that, so they've done a foundation where they give us gift cards so that like you can go and eat. You can, like there's Tim Horton cards. You can go have a coffee on court recess. You can go and have. They were so generous, and I think it was such a brilliant thing. Like, and I'll be rewarding them back if there was a settlement that would go to help people too. But I'm amazed that they found their purpose. I'm so lost. I don't have my purpose yet.
You know what, Varina, you guys did a lot, and you guys don't need to push further. You guys just have to deal with your pain and feel, and if you can find something, all the better.
Yeah. Right now it's just about being comfortable. Yeah, exactly. Like we do have a big voice, and I feel like there's got to be a purpose, and there's got to be a way to use it. But at the moment, I don't know. So hopefully in a year or two, maybe it's a little different. Maybe I've had more time to process, or the pandemic hasn't helped. You're just trying to kind of get through that before you try and rebuild a life.
Okay, well, what we can do as a podcast, and we get a fair amount of views, I will tell people to go to this organization since they helped you out so much. What is it, Tim Bosna? What do they call it?
Oh yeah, Tim's tribute. They were great, and the 519. Oh my goodness, like they invaluable. Like held her hand through the whole thing. They were better than
oh my God. I wish I could give you a big hug, Varina. I'm going to send people over towards these people. The 519 you said, and
519 and Tim's tribute. It's Tim Posma. He was the father that was showing his truck to some people that wanted to buy his truck.
That story is stupid too. Oh my God. Okay. So I'll send them towards those people so they can maybe help out in some way, and the show will give itself up to them I'll advertise for them for a little bit. I really, really appreciate
Tess. That would be awesome
for Tess and for you and for your family and for everybody that is affected by this. One dickhead, one asshole can fuck with like probably 50 to 60 people's entire lives. And I want everyone to understand that.
Completely, that ripple effect, even those police officers, hey, they did wrong and whatever, but they still have kids and a family. There's still other human lives behind that need their father's income. Like, it's just a mess.
And that's why I'm happy. And that's why I'm very happy, Varina, that you didn't think of your pen that in court and just go jab his neck, because now he gets to live in prison where he's getting probably just made someone's little bitch, honestly. And he's living like shit. He hates it. He cried for his mom the whole time. I hope he's curtsying Big Bob. That's his cellmate now. I hope that's what
exactly. Exactly. I love it. Exactly. That's what I'm hoping. Like, just,
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Head on over to our Facebook and Instagram to join in on the conversations about all things unethical. Just search Unethical Podcast. You can also find us on Patreon, where you can get access to all of our super awesome content, uncut videos of our discussions, and early release of all the episodes. We are adding fun stuff all the time, so you should definitely come and check it out. Thanks again, we appreciate all of you.
Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Baby, I got your money. Hey, dirty. The full video of this interview is up on our Patreon. If you guys are interested, go there and check it out. It's been out for a while. I did the interview a while ago, but it was very nice to have Varina on the show.